David.
All right, for everyone who just joined, thanks for hopping in. This is the Lunch and Learn from the Bronx's Breathing team, talking about medium-duty electric trucks, and plus some New York Clean Trucks program updates. Um, I think we can get started. We've got a pretty good group here. We'll get started. So thanks for coming. I'm just going to go over our quick little agenda. Oh my goodness, why does this keep happening? All right, folks. There we go. All right. Just a quick little agenda for us. We'll give some introductions from Empire Clean Cities and from Greater Hunts Point with Don Eversley on the line. We'll go over some of the electric trucks that are in the medium duty space that are available now. And we'll talk about the Mack medium duty electric model range. Just go over some of the specifics of what one of the electric trucks that's in this class 4 to 6 space looks like, and go over its specifications. And then we'll talk about the New York Clean Trucks program. We've got some updates from New York City DOT about their Clean Trucks program. We'll go over some other medium duty EV truck incentives and some important links and incentives for you guys to know. And then we'll get into a little bit of Q&A. And we do have a pretty packed agenda, so we're going to be moving as quickly as we can. Just a quick bit on who we are. The Bronx's Breathing Project is a community-focused project funded by NYCDOT as well as the U.S. Department of Energy, which aims to reduce air pollution, advance freight electrification, and support clean mobility in the Bronx's Hunts Point neighborhood. The Bronx's Breathing will address both public health challenges in Hunts Point and longstanding economic development imperatives by conducting workforce development work, deploying an electric truck-focused charging hub, and by distributing electric trucks to Hunts Point-based fleets. And Don Eversley is on the line. Don, if you'd like to say a few words.
Yes, greetings to all. Don Eversley, Executive Director, Greater Hunts Point EDC. We exist to support businesses, residents, and other stakeholders to work, live, and play successfully together. And a good deal of our future in logistics and transportation is going to be clean energy, and electric power is one of the leading sources. We welcome this opportunity to update folks on advances in the types and features of vehicles that are coming on the market. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Don. Yeah, and thanks everybody for joining. We couldn't have this project without you. Really excited to have some of our some fleet partners on the line and some
Full
folks
summary.
doing this
Yep.
work in Hunts Point and beyond. So I'm just going to go over a little bit more in detail the solutions that I outlined before that have been funded by the NYSERDA Clean Transportation Prize program a few years ago to advance these solutions in Hunts Point. So the first is the public charging hub for electric freight. This will have charging islands with several speeds of DC fast and level 2 chargers, as well as additional clean energy elements like solar canopies, and it'll be a hub for workforce training. We're really excited about this site. And the winner of the RFP that was released last year from the New York City Development or Economic Development Corp for developing that charger hub will be announced very, very soon. And we're really excited about this process and getting this hub developed. This will be a publicly accessible hub where trucks and other vehicles can charge in the heart of Hunts Point. Really excited about that. Number two selection or solution part of the solution is electric trucks, which will be going to several fleets, including City Harvest, as well as Mack LRE refuse truck, which is going to a fleet in Hunts Point. Very, very excited about these trucks, which are being funded by the program and sort of catalyzing the switch from primarily diesel power to alternative modes of propulsion in Hunts Point. And the final solution is the Truckers Cooperative. So medium duty trucks occupy a really important space in Hunts Point. There are more than 13,000 truck trips per day in Hunts Point, which service the food markets, the beverage markets, the fish markets, meat markets. Trucking in and out food that goes to the greater New York City area, fuels our restaurants, fuels our stores from these warehouses. About 30% of the truck trips that go in and out of the Hunts Point Peninsula are medium duty trucks. Those are trucks in the classes 4 to 6, and they have a gross vehicle weight rating between 14,000 pounds and 26,000 pounds. These are largely what you see here, for example, these box trucks, which often have refrigerator units on top, especially when we're talking about the food and beverage space. You can see those refrigerator units on top just hovering over the cab, keeping those boxes cool. So while these trucks are a little bit smaller than the class 7 and 8 tractor trailers, which are a staple of Hunts Point, these are still a significant contributor of emissions when they're powered by diesel. And there are a lot of medium duty electric trucks available in the market that have arrived in the last few years. Trucks from Bollinger, from Motive, from Isuzu, from Navistar, sort of both new and established names in the trucking space. All of these trucks are actually available for incentives through the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, this is a really important space, and all of these trucks are really advanced, have advanced battery chemistries, and can serve a lot of roles, especially for sort of medium mile fleets operating in New York City. And just to get back to the reason why we're talking about electrification and moving away from diesel is because the Hunts Point Peninsula has some of the worst air quality in the entire nation, largely driven by transportation emissions and diesel emissions that come from the tailpipe of trucks that, while they feed the economy, also lead to asthma, lead to cardiac issues, and lead to disparate health outcomes for folks who live and work in the Hunts Point area and beyond in the South Bronx. So to hear a little bit more in specific about the incentives that are available, we're going to start with the New York Clean Trucks program with Susan McSherry talking about what's new in the Clean Trucks program. Susan?
Great. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining today. Um, David, am I driving the slides or are you driving the slides?
I'm driving the slides. I got you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yes, thanks again, everyone, for attending. And just wanted to, uh, join this webinar to continue to let people know that the New York City Clean Trucks program is alive and well, has funding available, and is hoping to partner with you guys for your fleet needs as you think about electrifying your trucks. Um, this is there to promote sustainable transportation and a cleaner environment. We're currently funded by the Volkswagen diesel settlement.
Until Charlie says.
Thank you. And we offer incentive funding. Well, actually, I apologize, this slide is old. We have since changed our funding to battery electric only. The program reduces diesel exhaust emissions by offering incentives for clean vehicles, primarily battery electric vehicles, with the Volkswagen settlement funding as it stands right now, but overall and historically have offered incentives for diesel replacements, natural gas, diesel electric hybrid, et cetera. The real purpose is to reduce emissions and improve air quality. Our funding is between $12,000 and $215,000. And we feel that helping fleets to using these incentives helps to kind of make the purchase pencil out a little bit better. It also results in a vehicle that's more efficient for the fleet but it's also cleaner and reduces harmful pollution. And that means better air quality for New Yorkers and for the fleet employees, et cetera. So it's really a win-win for air quality and for businesses that participate. Next slide. So we are specifically, well, historically, we're tied to Hunts Point for many, many years. When we received the Volkswagen funding, we were able to expand to industrial business zones throughout the city. Um, Most of these industrial business zones are located in disadvantaged communities. So you have, residential areas that are adjacent to, land uses that are highly polluting because of the industrial nature, and those, residential areas just are disproportionately affected by the that land use in these areas. So um, we are making intentional, in investments ourselves with this program. The IBZs align with New York City priority investment areas. So these areas have historically not have been underinvested in terms of services and updates to infrastructure, et cetera. So it aligns nicely with New York City policy. It also works well for the disadvantaged communities, and it works well for businesses as well. Next slide. So for battery electric vehicle applicants, we did have an amendment. We realized that it's a leap for some fleets to think about this transportation electrification transition. Some fleets do not have older vehicles, so if you're in the market for a battery electric vehicle, you want to try one in your fleet, learn, get your lessons learned and go through the paces, but you don't have an older truck. We have like a third party ownership amendment included in our program that where you can work with a third party to use another fleet's vehicle as your scrap vehicle. Obviously, you'd have to comply with New York State requirements, including, title transfer, et cetera. And you can speak to our team members about that further if you have any interest in that. Next slide. Specifically for battery electric replacement incentives, our minimum and maximum is Class 4 at 100,000 to Class 8 at $215,000. We worked with our funders, New York State DEC, who manages the Volkswagen Trust for programs for Wilmington Trust for Volkswagen for the Volkswagen settlement, and the way we conduct our analysis of the rebate is looking at 75% of the dealer sales invoice to a maximum of these amounts per weight class. So you may receive, depending on what your sales price is and what you've negotiated with your dealer. We don't get in the middle of that. You can get um, potentially all of the funding in that class category, or up to 75% up to this cap. Next slide, please. So in order to qualify for the program, your old truck needs to be model year engine 1992 to 2009. We have two categories of funding in the program based on, again, the Volkswagen settlement. One group of funding covers Class 4 through Class 7, and then there's another one for Class 8 vehicles. We have a significant amount of money in our Class 8 category, so if you're interested in discussing battery electric vehicles in Class 8, please give us a call for that as well. Um, to The vehicle must be either domiciled in an industrial business zone or work and operate within 5 miles of the program approved the geofence. We sort of put a geofence around the industrial business zones. If you are domiciled, you have to be registered in the nine county New York metropolitan area, or nine county NYMA, for the previous 24 months, and your qualifying truck must be operated at least 5,000 miles annually over the previous 2 years. And that older truck is required to be scrapped. So you can, domicile either in the IBZ or in any of those nine counties. But if you're doing, you need to do business within the IBZ geofence, you may be eligible for our funding. Next slide, please. And to get the new truck, so the new truck needs to be a brand new truck. We don't do retrofits or upfits. It has to be brand new OEM. It has to perform the same function as the older diesel-powered vehicle that it's replacing. And generally, this is sort of we added this in to make it easier for BEV applications, that in general from class 4 to class 8, those trucks must be the trucks must be replaced with trucks in the same weight class as the old truck, with the exception that you can go up in weight class by 2 sizes within the 4 through 7 category. So if you had a class 6 qualifying vehicle, you could go up to a class 7 replacement. If you had a class, 5, go to a class 7, but class 8 is separate, and class 8 can only be replaced with a class 8. Again, those vehicles need to be operated within half a mile of a program approved IBZ, at least twice a week on average, and meet that 5,000 miles per year requirement. And in order to, we have reporting requirements, and to make it easy on everybody, we require that an AVL is installed on the vehicle so that we can monitor, the mileage and the VMT within, just to meet program compliance. So we don't necessarily, it's not the big eye in the sky, but we just want to make sure that the vehicles that we are helping to incentivize are being used as required and, requested as part of the program agreement. We'd like the emissions benefits to happen in in these various areas. Next slide, please. So in addition, in order to be aligned with the DOT policy, we also require Vision Zero safety enhancements. That could include side guards, crossover mirrors, or just a better set of down door mirrors, for instance, so that the blind spot from the cab perspective and the driver perspective is minimized. Also, you could use, backup alert systems, et cetera, just anything that helps to improve visibility for the driver, which helps to reduce the potential for crashes and injury. Next slide, please. So far, we've funded 672 trucks in the program. It has been primarily a diesel to diesel replacement program due to just the age of the program and the lack of infrastructure. We think battery electric vehicles are really coming into their own right now, particularly in the class 5 and 6 category. So while this pie chart sort of shows that 63% of our replacements have been in the 7 and 8 category, we feel that the time is now for class 5 and 6 to, that portion to start to grow a little bit more. Because we just feel that the technology is mature enough and can meet, most fleet needs in terms of range. And, again, back to David's point, we're working on the infrastructure. We realize that that's a key obstacle, but that's coming along as well. Next slide. And fuel consumption is reduced as well. So just from getting it out of an old truck and into a new truck with a newer engine, newer systems on that engine, you get a significant reduction in your fuel cost as well. So that is also something to consider when you're doing your analysis, your cost benefit analysis. Next slide. Again, another visual, the long stretch on the bottom is sort of important. The reduction in NOx and PM is very significant. NOx is a precursor for ozone, which is, important to reduce. It's just an irritant. It makes you miserable. It makes you sick. And PM also, is just implicated in as a carcinogen and in respiratory illnesses and issues for children and the elderly in particular. So this helps to, just clean up the air and reduce those criteria pollutants. Next slide, please. We've been, trucking along, sorry for the pun, since 2012. We've incentivized those 672 replacements. We've also, early in the early days, did some truck retrofits when they were popular and just did a couple of scraps early on. We've dropped that. We are now fully a truck replacement program. And we have sent out almost $22 million for the program to help businesses improve their operations and to improve air quality in the city. Next slide. And one of the new things that we are working on is to restart our TRU incentive program. Many years ago, we used our contract to help incentivize truck refrigeration unit replacements in Hunts Point, particularly in the produce market. That was incredibly successful. Although underfunded over the years, we just got whatever money we could, and we did what we could. We got up to 68 units replaced, but there's a potential for hundreds and hundreds more to be replaced in the intervening years while New York City EDC works on the produce market redevelopment project. All technology will be available for funding. We realize that, getting electricity to these sort of remote locations away from the buildings is difficult. But again, retiring an old diesel, even replacing with a new diesel is a significant benefit. But we, of course, really encourage folks to look at the hybrid and the all electric models as well. And we're working, to use this new funding that we will be receiving to look at the feasibility of portable charging, so that if these trailers are off-site and remote, that there might be a way to continue to operate them in, electric or hybrid capacity, et cetera, by using some of the new technology that's becoming available. Next slide. This is just a quick snapshot of the emissions reductions from that initial TRU program. As you can see, the reductions were pretty dramatic and cost effective as well. And I'm sure you can look at this slide at your, when you'd like, when they send out the decks after the webinar. Next slide, please. And if you're not an IBZ eligible fleet, feel free to reach out to our friends at NYCDOT. They have a program that incentivizes vehicle and freight vehicles as well. That's the link right there. Con Edison, especially if you're looking for a battery electric truck, you need to have conversations with Con Edison to figure out what your power requirements are and what you might need to have bolstered up or, powered up a little bit better. They have a program, Power Ready, that can help you defray some of those costs on the, outside of the fence. We strongly encourage that if you're interested in battery vehicles, to speak to them sooner rather than later. Next slide. That's our contact information. feel free to reach out to myself or anybody on my team. We are here to help and give you the information you need to make, a good, educated decision on moving forward. But we hope that look at the battery electric vehicles seriously, because in the long run, they actually do cost less to operate. And as we were mentioning, infrastructure is being built and is coming along. So you don't want to miss out on that. On that new transition. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Susan. Yeah, this is really great information in here. We'll be touching on some of the other points in here as well in a little bit. We'll talk about a little bit of off-grid charging. We'll talk a little bit more about additional incentives in charging. Yeah, but Susan is a wealth of knowledge, and definitely reach out to her and figure out if you're in an IBC and if you're in New York City, getting some funding to acquire a zero-emission truck for your fleet through the Clean Trucks program. And also just want to point out that, the program, the Clean Trucks program came out of Hunts Point. It was originally the Hunts Point Clean Trucks program before it was, the Clean Trucks program for all of New York City. So, the commitment to clean trucks in Hunts Point is longstanding. And that's, a part of the reason that we've got the Bronx's Breathing Project going, and continuing to hold events like these and do education and outreach. All right, I'm gonna switch over and invite my friend Scott Bacala from Mack Trucks to talk about the Mack Medium Duty Electric. Get into the specs on one of the premier electric trucks in this class and in this space, and that's available now. Take it away, Scott.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Scott Baraclaw with Mack Trucks, and here today to talk to you about our medium-duty electric. So go ahead to the next slide. But, as Mack Trucks, just to say our purpose is to move and build a better world, and certainly electric vehicles are going to be a big part of that going forward. Go ahead. With long-term ambitions of being 100% safe, zero fatalities, minimize accidents, 100% fossil-free eventually, and 100% more productive, making the vehicles be more productive with the same vehicle. All right, go ahead to the next slide. Which leads me to the medium-duty electric, which we're here to talk about today. It builds on our very successful medium-duty diesel truck. And with that, we've got industry-leading payload. Our truck, as far as electric vehicles go, are as light as they come. Excellent TCO on the vehicles. Again, we are Mack Trucks. We've got very good support systems set up with our dealers in the New York City area. We've got some innovative financial products, if you want to talk to your Mack dealer about that, with leasing and vehicle as a service. And we are in production now. Okay, go ahead, next slide. Talk about the trucks itself. There's a lot of specs here. I'm not going to go into great detail with respect to time. However, David assures me he's going to make these presentations available to everyone. So if you do want to go in and dive in on it, you will be able to come back and look at these on your own. But the medium-duty electric, it's available in Class 6 or Class 7 ratings. If you look at the truck, we have two different battery configurations available, 240 kilowatts and 150 kilowatts. If you look at the larger battery pack, you're about 3,000 pounds heavier than the comparable diesel. If you have the smaller battery pack, it's only about 1,200 pounds, both of which are pretty good when it comes to the medium-duty range. Go ahead, next slide. Yep. Motor itself is capable of 185 horsepower continuous, 260 peak, 960 foot-pounds of torque, continuous 1850 peak. Of course, we have to regulate that via software, or else people will be doing drifting out of the parking lot, and we certainly don't want that. But needless to say, these vehicles move along very smartly. We do a very good job keeping up with traffic. Operators love them. The pickup is very good. Electric motors making maximum torque at 0 RPM. Yeah, keeping up with traffic is no problem, which I'm sure is a big deal operating in the city, as these people will be doing. Next slide, please. Charging. It's got the CCS1 connector, which is essentially the standard connector for commercial vehicles. located on the left-hand side of the truck, right behind the step as you get into the driver's door. It's capable of both AC and DC charging. All of our customers at this point have been using the AC charger, but we also can do the DC fast charging. AC works up to 19.2 kilowatt hours. Again, depending on how full you are and the size of your battery, that could take anywhere from 6 to 11 hours charge time, which when you're parking the truck overnight in most cases, you can usually start your day with a full charge ready to go. Looking at the DC fast charging side, you can go charge at rates of up to 80 kilowatts, and that results in 100 to 150 minute charge time, again, depending on the battery and your starting level of charge. Go ahead to the next slide. Batteries themselves, nickel manganese, cobalt chemistry, NMC, operating 400 volts. Again, like I said, we have 150 and 240 kilowatt hour sizes, and with the smaller battery, we say you're going to get up to 140 miles of range. With a larger battery, up to 230 miles on a single charge. Of course, your mileage may vary, but anyhow, go ahead, next slide. Typical applications. When you look at the medium duty space, probably 70-75% of the trucks out there have got a box on the back, whether it be van or refrigerated, and certainly a good fit for the medium duty electric. We can do small dumps, stake or flatbed. If you need to have a lift gate on the back, that's fine. If you're doing the lift gate, we certainly recommend a 24 volt lift gate. It is the most streamlined installation. Go ahead to your next slide. Something interesting that we had at the work truck show this year, if anybody was out there to see it in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago, we did have a utility truck with a boom on it in our booth. This has come from one of our body partners, Terex. Something that you might see for electrical work, that kind of thing. And it's got a EPTO built into the body with its own battery, so it doesn't require a chassis battery and therefore doesn't reduce your range. But a very nice setup. Again, if it's something you're looking for the medium duty truck, that's something we can accommodate. Go ahead for your next slide. But if you look at the Mack e-mobility ecosystem, we can work with you if you want to need help with any of the things in the ecosystem. We can do the whole thing for you. If you just want to get into the truck and be ready to go, we can take care of everything. Or if you're savvy or you want to do things on your own, we can certainly work with you and let you do that. But again, when you start looking at electric vehicles, sometimes the truck's the easy part. When you start looking at infrastructure, charging, training, fleet management, the financial area of it, what grants and incentives are available. Of course, Susan talked about that earlier, so you'll certainly have a head start there with that. But again, any of these items you see there, we have resources in place to assist you to make sure you get into your truck as seamlessly as possible. Go ahead to the next slide. If you look at the electric truck itself, it is covered by a standard warranty, and you can see the duration of different components there. Again, you look at most of them are 24 to 36 months, but the vast majority of our customers at this point have gone with what we call our Ultra Service Agreement, which is an extended contract. If you want to go to the next slide. The Ultra Service contract is essentially bumper-to-bumper coverage on the vehicle, so there's no surprises. We take the burden of any unexpected hiccups with the new technology, and it will be covered by Mack Trucks. Covers everything essentially but tires and glass accident damage. Outside of that, all your maintenance items, brakes, wiper blades, anything like that, that's all covered. And it's a very comprehensive plan. And again, to take any kind of concern you may have about running the new technology, but any issues that arise, Mack Trucks will take care of. Go ahead to your next slide. Energy solutions, also known as charging. We have assets in place to assist you getting set up with your charging. So if you want to go ahead to your next slide. Again, much like I said before, we can do it for you, do it with you, or do it on your own. However you want to do it, we are here to help, and with as much or as little as you'd like. But again, we provide advisory service. We can help you with the hardware. We can do a turnkey installation. If you need software to manage your charging, we can do that. Maintaining the charger, incentives, all of that. We have assets in place to help you with any of these items that you have questions about. We can help you. Go ahead to the next slide. As far as the charging equipment itself goes, we've used our world-class purchasing organization to negotiate very attractive pricing on several chargers out there in the marketplace, some from Heliox, Gilbarco, InCharge. You can purchase them from your Mack dealer. And again, with the volumes that we are buying, we've been able to get some very, very appealing pricing. So it's certainly worth, if you're looking at the Mack medium duty electric, talking with your dealer about the charger. He can work with you, or she can work with you to put you in the charger that you need at a very competitive price, and a charger that we know works with our vehicles. So if you want to go to the next slide. And when we talk about that, we do have a recommended charger list that is updated regularly. Should be no new one coming out soon, but this is the one that is current. If you look here on the left, those are your AC chargers. The chargers you see on this page are ones that we have tested and we have validated that do work with our vehicle. There are other chargers out there, new ones coming on market every day. They may work with the truck, but we haven't tested them to confirm that they do work in the truck in all situations. So, it can be a risk if you're working with chargers outside of this list. But if you do need to work with one, please talk with us and we'll see what we can do to assist you. And on the right, of course, you have your DC fast chargers. As I said before, though, just about everyone, all the customers that we have had to this point have been using gone with the AC level 2 charging. And a nice little snippet here. The end, if you look at the truck on the top, that is an off-grid charging truck. What's an off-grid charging truck? Well, this truck has a biopropane-powered generator on the rear of it, kind of behind where you see the copper-colored Mack Bulldog logo on the body, and has a 120 kilowatt DC fast charger mounted to the back. So, we use this truck for truck shows if we have a ride and drive, and typically where they have the parking lot or the staging yard where the ride and drive trucks are parked, they don't necessarily have charging available there. We can bring this truck over, charge the truck, works very well. Or with our dealers, if they're having some kind of EV event, we can bring the truck out there, charge the trucks, make sure they're ready to go when the customers want to drive them. And it's ideal for site resiliency as well. If a customer has a site, where we have to wait for the infrastructure to be installed, something like this can work as a temporary measure until they get their permanent charging set up. Another interesting out there, working with our Volvo Energy colleagues, they do have a battery energy storage system, which is basically what the name implies, a large bank of batteries located again somewhere where perhaps infrastructure is not available. And then you can charge vehicles off of that temporarily when you need them, perhaps say on a job site, something like that. When you do need to run your electric vehicle for a shorter amount of time, we can provide that as well. Go ahead to the next slide. Finally, incentive support. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, as Susan did a very nice job ahead of me there. But just want to let you know that Mack Trucks does qualify for the Inflation Reduction Act for a tax credit of $40,000 on Class 6 and Class 7 vehicles. And, again, it's got the conditions there. If you do want to lease, our Mack Financial Services can apply that $40,000 towards a capital cost reduction, which will reduce your monthly payment on the lease. Go ahead to the next slide. And as far as New York TVIP, we are qualified on that program. So, to take advantage of that, we have to qualify the vehicle, which we are. Our dealer partners apply to be contractors, which they have on the New York TVIP vouchers. And then you work with contractors to identify and scrap a vehicle. Again, Susan talked about this program, but just want to let you know that we are included on the New York TVIP program. Next slide. With that, that concludes my presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott. Yeah, really great to dig in deep on the details of the abilities and everything of the Mack medium duty. There are a lot of different models out there for which there are all sorts of incentives. So, if you're a fleet, definitely reach out to Scott, reach out to your dealers to learn about the vehicles that are available, and that will work for you. And as Scott was just mentioning, the New York Truck Voucher Incentive Program is another incentive program that provides funding to accelerate fleet electrification. Its key point of difference from the New York City Clean Trucks program being that it is statewide. So there are a few updates to the truck voucher incentive program. One is that there are now incentives available for class 3 zero emission vehicles, so a little bit smaller than medium duty. It includes some stuff like smaller step vans, and those incentives are available from the program up to $50,000 per vehicle. There will also be a new non-road equipment voucher program rolling out, which is really exciting. This will cover stuff like yard equipment, excavators, terminal tractors, rail car movers, things that sort of aren't highway rated vehicles. These vehicles will be funded with base incentives over the 30% cost of the vehicle, with an additional disadvantaged community bonus offered, which will cover an additional 50%, so up to 45% of the cost of the vehicle. And Hunts Point definitely applies for that extra incentive. Scrappage for the program used to be required, but is now a bonus, moving in line with their school bus voucher incentive program. So now for class 3 through 8 zero emission vehicles, if you're applying for a bonus, there will be a bonus on your voucher, but you are not required to scrap a vehicle. And again, it's those 1992 to 2009 engine model year diesel vehicles. There is still scrappage requirements for the transit bus vouchers and also for those new non-road vehicles which are eligible through the program. A couple other changes coming to truck voucher incentive program. Incentives are applied to the base price of the vehicle and is no longer applied to incremental cost of the vehicle. So manufacturers will be able to also submit new vehicle eligibility applications through the NYCDOT portal soon, which will add more models to be available. Especially they're looking to expand the number of trucks and transit buses that are available through the program. And as mentioned, there are new voucher bonuses. One is for fleets that are located in disadvantaged communities. Another is the small fleet bonus, which is for fleets with fewer than 15 trucks or vehicles. And just a quick summary table here of the new items that have arrived for truck voucher incentive. We've got funding available for class 3 zero emission vehicles, the smallest vehicles ever eligible for funding through the program. Non-road zero emission equipment is now eligible for funding for $30,000 or for, pardon me, 30% or 45% for fleets located in disadvantaged communities. Scrappage is now a bonus for most class 3 to 8 zero emission vehicles, excluding non-road vehicles and transit buses. There's bonus incentive for small fleets in disadvantaged communities, and now the cost structure has moved away from the incremental cost of paying for the zero emission vehicle. And the relaunch is coming soon. There will be webinars that go into much more detail than I just did here. Those webinars and new application dates will be announced soon. If you have questions, definitely reach out to Truck Voucher Incentive, NYTVIP at energycenter.org, or to Natalie Toros, the program or project manager rather for Truck Voucher Incentive. She'll happily answer any of your questions about Truck Voucher Incentive. Just a couple more important links that I wanted to share with you. I'm actually going to go from the bottom up here while we're sort of talking about vehicle models. The Alternative Fuels Data Center, or AFDC, is a program of the Department of Energy, which allows you to find and compare alternative fuel-powered vehicles across multiple classes, vocations, types, manufacturers, fuel types, and will also help you locate available federal and local incentives. This is a really great tool if you're looking at which vehicle is going to be best for you. You can even estimate your emission savings, cost savings, things like that, and locate models that are available for you. Especially because there are so many new manufacturers entering the space. It'll also tell you whether those manufacturers apply for incentives like truck voucher incentive program. Really, really great tool for actually any class of vehicle. It's of course available for light duty vehicles, electric cars, but is also available for medium and heavy duty vehicles too if you're looking into those. And as I mentioned before, the eligibility list for the NYCDOT the NYCDOT truck voucher incentive program is available online, and it'll give you a very comprehensive list of all classes, all vocations, all types of vehicles that are available for vouchers through the program at that link. Finally, the Con Edison Power Ready medium and heavy duty pilot program is a pilot that Con Ed is running. If you're a fleet in the Con Edison territory, you can apply to see if your fleet will qualify for incentives, covering a portion of the costs for installing EV charging infrastructure that is focused on your medium and heavy duty electric vehicles. So definitely check out the Con Ed Power Ready pilot for medium and heavy duty vehicles, the NYSERDA Truck Voucher Incentive Program eligibility list, and the Alternative Fuels Data Center vehicle search tool. The Bronx is Breathing is running a lot of different programs at the moment, and we're in the thick of it here. We've got, as I mentioned, parallel funding from NYSERDA and through the U.S. Department of Energy. We are, deep in the process of writing the electrification roadmap for Hunts Point. Through the Department of Energy, we were funded to expand the work outside of what was funded through NYSERDA to do some more community engagement focused work. If you are a community member, or if you are a fleet, or if you are involved in any local NGOs or local government, we definitely encourage you to check out our website, bronxisbreathing.org. To learn about how you can get involved in that planning process, which is ongoing. We're working really closely with the Point Community Development Corp right in Hunts Point to host these events and also write the electrification roadmap, which we're in the process of constructing now. We have community listening sessions, one of which is coming up soon. And those are, really focused on, or pardon me, we have a town hall forum coming up. Got my terminologies mixed up, that are looking to get folks involved in our planning processes here. We've also got more lunch and learns coming up, and we also have an electric vehicle ride and drive that is currently scheduled for June 11th. That'll be happening in Hunts Point using that Mack LRE tractor that is being delivered to a fleet in Hunts Point, and we'll have more details about attending that event soon. And it looks like, Don, you have your hand up.
Yes. I just to get is this the question and answer period? I don't want to step on your toes here.
It definitely can be the question and answer.
Okay. So real quick, if Scott is back, I just wonder if you have any sort of high level side by side comparisons that you guys have developed with internal combustion trucks in terms of maintenance issues, average breakdowns, things of that nature, and then average maintenance cost, EV versus conventional power.
We don't have a brochure or anything with that on there. Again, most customers we've had have gone with the ultra service contract, which covers everything. So any kind of cost that you incur there, again, is going to be picked up by Mack Trucks. So there's little risk there. Maintenance is less on the EVs. Obviously there's not oil changes and filters and things like that. There's still chassis lubrications, like your air conditioning filter and software updates. We want to make sure, we'll get our hands on the truck once a year to make sure all the softwares you're running is the latest on the vehicle, perform that. But other than that, there's very little maintenance required on the electric vehicle.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Bill, you have your hand up. Feel free to unmute and ask away.
Hey, Scott, great presentation. I've been following the Mack MD quite closely, and I'm fairly familiar with the company that builds the drivetrains for it, C Electric and Extro.
Yes.
And one of the things you showed in your slide there is with the AC fast charging, you had like the list of AC fast chargers, and some of them were up to 80 kilowatts. Now, level 2, as you know, only goes up to like 20 kilowatts.
19.2.
So, yeah, I was watching the presentation by Extro in the fall, where they showed the AC fast charging using the J32. So there's this, charging standard. Yeah, that brings you up to 80 kilowatts AC fast charging. And the benefit that was, described during that presentation was that, for fleets, you can lower the cost of fast charging by using AC versus DC fast chargers. Okay. Maybe I'm going down the wrong. Maybe you could give me some color on, I understand with Extro's drivetrain, they've got a coil driver that allows that AC fast charging, and maybe you could tell me when that feature will be available on the MD Electric, because it really, lowers your infrastructure costs significantly.
It does, and like I said, to this point, with the level 2 AC charging, you can charge up to 19.2, and that has been sufficient for most of the customers that we've been working with. As you know, they made it pretty clear they don't want to charge during the day, so they'll charge their truck overnight on the yard, and it's ready to go in the morning. And with up to 230 miles of range, that's usually been sufficient in most cases. Coil driver, we're aware of it. Again, we don't talk about future products, until they're ready. But we are aware of it. It's certainly something we're looking at, but I really can't comment on as far as when it might be going into production.
Okay. Thanks. All right.
Great. Thanks, Bill. And thanks, Scott, for that answer. I just did want to highlight as well, there was a question in the chat that was asked about specifically, why the 1992 to 2009 model year and for Clean Trucks program, whether there were any other options if fleets only had trucks that are newer than 2009. Susan that it's a requirement of the Volkswagen funding, the Dieselgate funding, and in the future, Clean Trucks program will be looking at different ways to incentivize EV adoption by either altering scrappage or model year requirements. We recognize that a lot of fleets, may not have 15, 16-year-old trucks now in their fleets. Any other details aside from that, Susan, that you'd like to share?
No, I think even I've shared too much because we're negotiating to, get a different source of funding, and so that will give us some flexibility to be able to look at that, see the feasibility of that, see the, what's the emissions, what sort of change in emissions benefits that would cause, because 2010 was the newest sort of EPA model year certification. And then, sort of the phase 2 stuff coming in, but 2010 was the crossover. That's kind of the cleanest, baseline that EPA has, which is what we work with.
Excellent. Any other questions for our panelists or anyone else on the team? Happy to take any questions as well. If you've got, questions for your fleet, definitely reach out to Scott, to Susan, to us at Empire Clean Cities. We're happy to work with you one-on-one to talk about electrification support and get down to the nitty-gritty details about incentives and everything. We know it's a little bit monstrous on its face, but there's plenty of support here to help with electrification. And Bill, got your hand up?
Yeah, sir. I just asked Scott while he's here. He's a valuable resource. So
Sure.
maybe you could give us some color, Scott, on the the market. Like the MD Electric. What kind of penetration you're expecting to see with this vehicle and the LR, in 2025, 2026? Are we kind of on the start of a, large adoption, or maybe you could give us some color as to what type of growth you see in this sector? Just curious.
Well, we certainly are expecting to see growth because, again, this is new technology, so we're essentially starting from zero, right? Would the growth be as rapid as we may have thought a year ago? Probably not. The previous administration was much more supportive of EVs, as you're probably aware, and implementing the new technology. The current administration, less so. I think that's going to have an effect on adoption rate. The infrastructure may take a little longer to get built out. That's going to be a big part of it. Incentives are up in the air. Nobody knows. So again, I think there's a lot of unknowns at this point. Things that we were taking for granted perhaps a year ago now are, we may have to be reconsidering. So we certainly still see it growing, but perhaps the rate of growth may not be quite what we were expecting, like I said, a year ago.
Okay. Yeah. And most of it's incentive based, you'd say, really.
Incentives play a big part with the early adoption, yes. Yes, because the costs are higher. For instance, if you look at with the incentives that are available in New York right now, you can get a medium duty electric for less than a diesel when all the incentives, if you qualify for all the incentives that are out there that are available.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good news. But yeah, where do you see the biggest adoption kind of in the high pollution or, those type of areas?
I certainly see that as, a place where we will see quite a bit. But again, we look around and, it is fairly spread out. We've got trucks running in central Pennsylvania with a very environmentally motivated fleet. We have several out in California.
Yeah.
And frankly, that's where a lot of the trucks are going is California, just because of the ACT clean fleet requirements that they have out there. Plus, they also have obviously a lot of incentives as well to get people into those vehicles. So they're pushing them really hard out there.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, it's a great product. You obviously have a very competitive range on this truck, and can you comment at all? I know you can't comment on future products, but do you see the range increasing over the next 2 or 3 years, or where's the focus on Mack in terms of providing value in the future with these products?
We're always looking at ways to increase range, whether that be with more energy on board or with better efficiency with the components that we have. See that. And we're also looking at some other things to open the scope of applications where this vehicle would fit. We have an electric PTO today that's 10 kilowatts, which works nice for a small dump, but there are some other applications, say a rear loader or perhaps like a rollback wrecker tow truck. And, they require a larger BPTO. So that's certainly something we're looking at now, again, just to open up the scope where the truck fits so we can put it into more applications.
And so when you look at I'm trying to understand the components of the truck, but when you look at the that, for example, you would have to work with your partner, C Electric, to make kind of adjustments in their power distribution system, right? In order to deliver those higher levels of power for those different applications kind of thing. Because I understand it, they have they also deliver the power distribution unit to the truck.
Right. That's part of the electric powertrain that's installed by XRO. And yes, you would have to look at the power distribution unit, as far as where the outputs are and how much those outputs can handle when you start looking at larger draws off of the chassis power system.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Any other closing comments as we wrap up here at the top of the hour?
Yeah, Don again. Scott, I've heard some anecdotal remarks related to the driver experience in terms of the comparison of exposure to pollutants, vibration, etc. Has Mack collected or sort of quantified anything from that angle, from how drivers experience the EVs versus the conventional diesel vehicles?
I mean, all the drivers we speak with really like the electric vehicles. We have two products in the electric space now. We have the LR electric refuse truck, and we've been building that since 2021. And then also now we have the medium duty. And with both sets of operators, the first thing they notice is the quiet. They're silent and even if they're moving, they sound like a big golf cart, we jokingly say. So, I mean, the quiet, number one. And if you think about a refuse truck, you're typically sitting right next to the engine. When you have a diesel truck, you no longer have that. So drivers really like that. And the other thing that they really like is the pickup, like the acceleration. So when you step on the gas, it goes, and it goes now. There's no real waiting. And again, that for a truck that's living its life in, urban traffic, that's very well received by them. So yeah, the feedback from operators has been very, very positive from that perspective.
And for those civilians, he's talking about garbage trucks.
Yes.
which tend to continuously run, so that and with operators in and out of the vehicle, they're continuously exposed to exhaust, which is, and over the course of a 25-year career, it adds up. So I think that's something that's important. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Awesome. Well, I just wanted to thank Scott Barclow again, and Susan McSherry again, and Don Eversley again for coming and presenting with us. Definitely check out bronxisbreathing.org to learn about our future events. Reach out to us if you're a fleet and you'd like electrification support. Thanks, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great day, everybody.